Hey guys, still at the airport. So I thought I was going to touch on the subject of AI and the way that I think that technology, like, if you're paying attention, you'll see that one of the hottest things that are up and coming in the future is machine learning. And in essence, machine like they're hiring people right out of the universities to do machine learning, and more people are trying to get into this, like the idea that we can create systems that get smarter and learn and like adapt to changes in their environment, which is, if you think about it, that's not what's today. What we do is that we have humans basically programming a static type of system that only changes if a human itself, like a human, changes the code. But with machine learning and AI, the idea is that you can create smarter systems that are going to be able to do that dynamically. They will be able to adapt to their environment and the needs of whoever's consuming the system. Now, there are a few strategies for achieving this, and my guess is, and this is, I'm not an expert in any way, but the trends that I'm seeing right now, and my projection is that what's probably going to happen is that the major players in automotive and Google and all these different giants who have their own agenda for creating smarter systems, like the car industry, are all right now competing about trying to build the next, like, the smartest car that's possible, like self-driving cars. That's what they're about right now. They're trying to solve that problem, so because that's for them, that's the future for them. And Google and Amazon and all these guys are trying now to learn. They're trying to create AI systems that learn not only computer science and can create efficient solutions to networking problems or networking security and all that stuff, but they're mostly focused in, from what I can see, on trying to figure out what makes humans work the way they do. They're trying to solve the human question, and they're not I'm pretty sure that has not. It has not so much to do with that they want to figure out how figure out humanity. They're trying to figure out how to improve their advertisements, ads. That's most likely what they're trying. They're trying to figure out what will make you buy something. In essence, that's it's not all about that, but I think that's a major part of it. And if you think about that problem, that means that they have to create a giant system or an ecosystem of services which ties into all the things that factor into your decision-making process and who you are as a person. And I think some people don't like the idea of AI. They watch too much Terminator and all that good stuff, and they kind of, I don't know, we have this bad idea of how an AI system is going to work and that it's going to take over someday. And yeah, it's quite possible that that's going to happen. I see it as an inevitability that will happen sooner or later, but that doesn't mean that it has to be a bad thing. To me, my mental picture of what's going to happen is that it's probably going to start with an app of some sort, a small application. It's already happening in some places. A small application. Let's take as an arbitrary example something like WhatsApp, or like a chatting application, a Siri or something like that. A personal assistant. Personally, I think that Siri is still too advanced in the scope of things. I think that what's gonna most likely be the way forward is to solve a single problem through using AI. So things such as chatting applications which are intelligent enough to understand what you're trying to say, or they're monitoring the way that you communicate with the different people and can adjust your experience within that app according to what they learn about you. And because the reason why I think that's the way forward is because it starts very small. Because let's remember that the problem you're trying to solve, especially for when it comes to advertisements, is that you need to figure out how somebody thinks. You need to learn that so that you can know what to present to them at what point in time. And the only way you can map that, in my opinion, the only way you can map something like that out is by completely monitoring all of the activities that they do on a daily basis. You have to gather these metrics. And how do you do that? Well, if you think about it, there's no one system that could fill that role. Like, you use so many different apps, and like your internet life is probably much richer than a single application, which means that that's actually a good thing for the people who are designing these systems, because that means that, like Google, who has a very big ecosystem of services, if they monitor each individual service and track you as an individual across all of their services, they will actually learn more about you than they could ever hope to learn from a single entry point of information about you. So that's a good thing for it. Like, it takes a lot of time, of course, and you need a lot of resources, but it's a good thing. So that's my guess. It's going to start with AI in a single use case. It could be anything arbitrary. It could be like Excel gets an AI system, or like in personal something like that, and it just monitors a single thing. As I said, I think Siri is still a little bit too, it's too broad maybe, but it's an attempt to do the thing that's going to come next, because once they have an ecosystem of all these services that learn individually a lot about you, they can start to aggregate things. So think of it as you have a big bucket of different services that gather all this information about you, and then you put a umbrella system on top, which talks to all these other smaller systems, these AI. So you have another AI that is specialized in understanding the relationship between these silos of information that you're producing for Google or whoever. And that's the true challenge. Once you have the infrastructure in place, you're going to see people, and that's already happening if you look in the business world today. Like, a lot of these massive super corporations such as Facebook and Amazon and Google and all these, they have this data. They are producing all of this data at a global massive super scale. And now there are a lot of companies who are simply consuming this information and trying to figure out how to do something useful with all this data. And that's what I think is going to happen next. You're going to see more and more services pop up that are they're not creating something new necessarily, but they are creating they're creating additional value on top of the systems that are already in play, right? And that's probably the way that AI is going to work. And I think that you can scale that infinitively. Okay, so you have all your small services that are services that are specialized at providing you value in your life and gathering information about you, and then you have a layer on top of that which aggregate all this information into some useful holistic information about you, and then you can start building on top of that. Like, you can just keep it's basically like a tree, right? It just can keep on going until and this is like, wow, this is sci-fi. To me, it's sci-fi. It's way out there. Until we reach a system that is probably far in the future, and my guess is that it's going to be something like Siri or a personal assistant system of some sort. And that personal assistant system will learn what you are about. We're probably all going to have them on our phone or some other device, like very close to heart. And the more stuff you use on the internet that is hooked into the integration will be key here. Most of it's probably going to be focused around how much data do you expose. Like, the system is probably going to be better and learn more about you the more you use it, or the more you use the services that it uses to gather metrics about you. So I spoke to my mother-in-law about this, and she was terrified of this idea, because she said something that I thought about a little bit before I responded. She said that I like to not know everything about everything. I mean, I don't want a computer that's always telling me how everything works, and I'd like there to be a little bit of magic in the world. Like, I don't want to understand everything. And I said, yeah, I understand that, and I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of people like you, but have you ever thought about, why are you assuming that my description of how I want my AI to work is going to be the same for you? Consider this, like, for me, who really, I'm very hungry for knowledge and all that stuff, I want a system that helps me be smarter and be better and all that good stuff. But and so if I had a phone application or whatever that has this AI system that gets to know me at a really personal level, that's a really intimate. I'm pretty sure that at some point this is going to be something very close to your toothbrush, or something really like something an object you own that is truly intimate to you and probably very specialized to you. So for me, my experience will be very different from yours. If you are the type of if your AI, in my opinion, it's probably going to understand that you're not so interested in having like a personal assistant. You simply want that system to kind of feel when you are in need of it and respond accordingly. So I might be talking to my personal AI every day. You might only talk to it maybe once a week, once a month, when you need it to help you with something. And she kind of absorbed this idea and kind of thought, yeah, that could be pretty useful. And I said, that's what I want to believe. I want to believe. I don't want to look at this AI concept from the perspective that we're going to create something that is so powerful that it takes over and completely enforces our lives. I want to think of it in this way. I want us to build something that can help everyone on this planet be a better person and be more effective and be more productive, be more happy. Why would an AI, why is the assumption that just because something is more powerful or smarter than you, that it's going to try to destroy you? I don't know why that's the assumption. And I will say, a lot of people I've seen who talk about Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and all these people who are super titans in IT. They are so smart. They are I'm not, I'm nothing compared to them. I want to pose the idea that could it be possible that if we truly created the science fiction version of an AI, we're talking about something that is literally a hub for all the knowledge that we basically have as humans. Why do you even utter words, or why are you even expressing an opinion about what you think is going to happen, or that it's a threat or it's not a threat? That to me is the same thing as trying to say that, hey, I know how God thinks. Because that's what we're talking about. I would say an AI in its in the sci-fi version of it, like a computer system that is that powerful, that would be the closest thing to a god that we humans could possibly create. And when I'm guessing as well, so let's be honest, I can be completely wrong, but you guys, the people who are saying that, who are on the other side of the spectrum, they could be wrong too. To put it simply, we don't know what will happen. But one thing I believe that is certain is that creating a system that is more sophisticated than us humans, that's the nature of evolution. Sooner or later, I believe that all sentient life will create an AI. Sooner or later. Because that's the way that we are, we naturally develop tools to assist us in bridging our own imperfections. And AI, I argue, is the pinnacle, as far as I can see, the pinnacle of tools. It's like computers is an amazing tool, but AI it's something that I think we have to do it. And I'm not saying that it won't be tricky and it won't be hard. I mean, a lot of people tell me, if you ever have a system like that, rogue nations like Google or whatever, if they ever get to a point where they develop this in a really efficient way, they're going to use that for evil or for corporate gain. And I say, yeah, probably some of them are going to do that. But what I like to think about is this. If that's the cost, imagine that because a lot of people will suffer, I'm pretty sure, in some way. And that's usually the case for all cataclysmic evolution. I mean, the internet was not designed to give you Facebook. It was designed for military purposes. And what I'm trying to say is that maybe it's worth it. Maybe we will achieve, in the beginning, maybe only a very few select super corporations are going to have access to effective AI systems, and that will give them probably the power to rule this entire planet, or rather, at least ensure their own survival and power position for a long time to come. But think about it this way. that's going to keep on going most likely. It's probably going to keep on evolving, and they are going to build more and more sophisticated AI system. And I'm pretty sure that sooner or later, AI applications, just as we have today, we have services, APIs that are publicly available that we programmers can consume in our applications to create our own stuff. Why wouldn't AI be such a thing? Imagine somebody actually releasing a package on like a repository. Oh, this is an AI that does this thing, and you consume it in your code like anything else. Can you imagine how powerful that would be if AI ever became so accessible that we could do almost anything with it? It's food for thought, guys. At least I think that, we shouldn't dismiss something just because we are afraid that we will lose our position as the dominant race, when there's really, in my opinion, nothing really concrete that indicates that that's the way things are gonna go. Let's keep an open mind.